My sister changed the locks 6 days after we buried our parents. I stood on the porch of the farmhouse where I had lived for 32 years, turning my useless key under a gray sky. Through the screen door, Vanessa lifted Mom's mug and said, "You should be gone by morning. The house, land, accounts, everything belongs to me." She had not visited our Virginia farm in 19 years. I had never left. My name is Mara Collins. I came home to manage the books for our orchards, cattle, payroll, taxes, leases, and cooperative contracts. Mom taught me her ledger system. Together, we turned 200 acres into a business worth nearly $24 million. Vanessa called only when she needed money. When our parents died in a truck accident, I arranged the funeral, fed the cattle, and sat beside Mom until her final breath. Vanessa arrived 3 days later with Grant and began measuring road frontage before the flowers wilted. She called me the hired help. Then she called a locksmith. I moved into the apartment above the barn with a photograph of Mom and Dad. That night, music shook the farmhouse while Vanessa told Grant to contact developers. Julian Cross scheduled the will reading for Tuesday. "Bring your records," he said. Before Tuesday, Vanessa fired our workers, tried to cancel the cooperative contract, and signed a letter promising the farm to a developer for $18 million. She had no authority, but acted as if confidence could replace ownership. On Monday night, while sweeping beneath the barn cot, I found a box marked in Mom's handwriting. Inside lay an envelope addressed to me. "Mara, if this is happening as we feared, do not argue with Vanessa. Let the documents speak. Trust Julian. Trust what you built." I carried that letter to the reading. Julian's conference room smelled of coffee and old carpet. Vanessa arrived in black, Grant beside her. Mom's friend Evelyn Shaw and Nora Bell were already seated. Our pastor sat near the door, avoiding my eyes. Julian opened the first document. Vanessa received the farmhouse, $200,000, provided she lived there and maintained it for 5 years. If she left, the house would pass into a family trust. Her smile disappeared. "Where is the land?" Grant demanded. Julian removed a second sealed envelope. 7 years earlier, my parents had placed the orchards, cattle acreage, equipment, mineral rights, cooperative shares, and a $2 million education fund into an irrevocable trust. Its assessed value was $23.6 million. Vanessa went pale. The trustee had to meet 3 conditions: 5 years living on the farm, verified management of its finances, and work in the agricultural community. Vanessa met none. I met all 3. Julian read my full name as sole trustee. I could not breathe. My parents had noticed every early morning, repaired contract, and sacrifice I thought invisible. Vanessa slammed the table. "She manipulated them." Evelyn answered, "Your parents visited me every Sunday. Nobody controlled them." Nora placed my audited records beside the trust. "Mara kept this farm alive. Every dollar is accounted for." Grant threatened to contest everything. Julian explained that the trust had been witnessed, notarized, and funded, while both parents were healthy. Evelyn and Nora were the witnesses. Then Grant made his mistake. "We already had a buyer," he shouted. 300 houses were planned for that land. "You negotiated a sale of property neither of you owned?" Vanessa turned on Grant. Their alliance collapsed, each blaming the other for the false promises and signed papers. Julian raised a final page. It was a letter from our parents. They wrote that they loved us equally but differently. Vanessa had received money, freedom, and fresh starts. I had received roots, work, and responsibility. The 5-year condition was an invitation for Vanessa to return, not a punishment. The trust was not my reward, but a duty to protect the farm, support employees, and fund scholarships. Then came the sentence that broke me. "Mara, you never asked for credit. You simply stayed. You are the one we trust." Vanessa pointed at me, shaking. "You stole everything." I stood and met her eyes. "The hired help kept the books," I said. "And the books do not lie." She left before Julian finished explaining why challenging the trust would almost certainly fail. 3 months later, Vanessa abandoned the farmhouse. It began reverting to the trust. Grant faced investigation over the fraudulent development agreement. The pastor resigned after admitting Vanessa had promised him a donation. I moved home, changed the locks, and issued the trust's first 3 scholarships from Mom's kitchen table. For once, every room felt quiet, protected, and unmistakably like home again. Vanessa called and asked for more money. "The door is open," I told her. "Come home for the farm, not the fortune." She hung up. Outside, cattle crossed the pasture beneath fading mountain light. I finally understood what my parents had left me. Not wealth, proof. Staying had never made me the hired help. It made me the woman they trusted to carry everything forward.